Good morning, America. This is the Cats Roundtable, and this is John Catsimatidis. And get your strong cup of coffee ready. It's the new year, and with us today is a true historian of our country. There is nobody that understands our nation's history better than former Speaker Newt Gingrich. Good morning, Mr. Speaker. How are you?
Well, it's great to be with you, and, it has been such a period of extraordinary change, both in Washington and around the country. It's just great to have a chance to catch up with you and talk about all the many different things that are going on.
Mr. Speaker, we have, a big surprise election. America has chosen Donald Trump to be president, and we're coming up on the inauguration. How do you feel all that transition is going?
Well, I think overall, first of all, I think he's picked a very strong cabinet. I would describe it as a cabinet of winners. And I think that that's a key part in thinking about what's going on here is you've got a team of people who are used to being successful. They're used to working really hard. They're used to taking big chances. And I think that they're all out there engaged and ready to dive in to try to help make America great again. I don't think that's just a slogan to them. I think that's why some very successful people have given up other jobs and other opportunities to go to work with President-elect Trump. So I regard the cabinet so far as a big, big success and something which makes me feel more confident that candidate Trump is going to turn into a really successful President Trump. And so that, from my standpoint, that's really very cool. The fact is that he has a lot of things on his plate. People don't realize it, but a new president actually has something on the order of 4,000 jobs that he is appointing people to at every level of federal government. I think 100 and some federal judges, for example, not just the one Supreme Court justice. So he's going to be very busy, and I think that he's tried to be very methodical and to approach this from a standpoint of really getting things done for the American people, while at the same time having to learn a lot. Remember, he's never been in Washington. He's never had a political job before. This is all new to him, and I think that's a part of what we're watching. Is here's a guy who is doing a new job and learning on the job, which is, of course, when you get to be president, that's one of your possibilities. Nobody can pre-train you to be president. And he's very smart, and my sense is he's learning very fast.
Now, one of the most successful periods in our country was when you were Speaker and President Clinton was president, and you guys worked together very well, and the country had a $500 billion surplus. Now, how do you see the interaction between President Trump and Speaker Ryan and Minority Leader Schumer?
Well, I think it's interesting to watch. I think Minority Leader Pelosi in the House is hopeless. I can't imagine any circumstance where they're going to get very much out of her. On the other hand, Schumer has known, as a senator from New York, Schumer has known Trump for a very long time. Right now they're in a name-calling phase, but I think that's because Schumer's having to be nice to his base, and they all want to go fight Trump. And they've sort of told him that if he's going to be their leader, he's got to lead him in fighting. And Trump is such a naturally aggressive person that if you pick a fight with him, he goes crazy and starts pounding on you. So Schumer has been hit pretty hard, I think, by Trump in this process. But I also think that it's the fact is that both Trump and Schumer are very mature guys. Schumer's a great professional. He understands the game. And I think that he and Trump will ultimately get some deals done. But Schumer first has to convince his base and his activists that they can rely on him to fight, because otherwise they will just go crazy. And he's on a very short leash right now because they are so hostile at every level. The left is so hostile to Trump that you couldn't just dive in and do something without first having an ability to prove to them that you're loyal. And I think so. He's talking tough to prove he's loyal. Trump is talking tough because when somebody talks tough to you, that's what Trump does automatically. But I think this will all wash out, and they will, in fact, ultimately do a pretty good job of working with each other. And they're such professionals; they both know what's going on. They both understand that this is a game they're playing.
And I guess the top priority for the Republicans is Obamacare. Do they have a shot in getting it done?
Oh, sure. But I would go a step further. What I would say is that the ultimate top priority is jobs. It has to be jobs. They can never forget that it's jobs. And the reason is the people who elected Donald Trump elected him because they were sick and tired of having an economy that wasn't growing, having an economy that was not producing the kind of opportunities that they want. And as a result, I think there was enormous pressure to hire him. And I think he made clear over and over again, as he said on one of the campaign stops towards the end, that 3 words summarize his program: jobs, jobs, jobs. So they've in part got to take this whole issue of Obamacare, and they've got to shift it in a way that increases their ability to produce jobs. If they don't produce jobs, nothing else is going to matter, and he is going to be a one-term president, and they'll have a bad 2018. But if they start really producing jobs, you could all of a sudden see some very good things happening, and you could see some people who would be very optimistic and very positive about the future. That's why you're seeing a huge stock market rally, that people have this gut instinct that this guy is different, that he's going to do things that we have not seen from other folks before, and that you can really build something around him. And I think that's an enormous advantage when a president has that kind of psychology going for him.
Let's talk about hacking. All this thing about, Hannity had
Yes.
Julian Assange on. And he says the Russians didn't give him the information. What do you think? I mean, what do you think this Julian Assange? I mean, what he managed to do is tell the American people what everybody else was keeping secret.
Well, look, I mean, first of all, I have to say I don't believe any one person has the right to go hacking into secrets and then displaying them around the world. And I remember vividly that at the time he was doing it, people in the intelligence community were saying that he was literally setting up agents who had been our helpers in Afghanistan to get killed because he was publishing their names and the names of their family and the names of their village. Now, that to me is not something I can defend. It's not something I can support or applaud. On the other hand, I'm inclined to believe him when he says that he didn't get anything from the Russians. I think this whole effort by the left to pin something on the Russians tells you how desperate they are to prove that Trump did not win on his own. I mean, the left just cannot believe that Trump could have won. And so they keep looking for some excuse, some explanation, other than the fact that he got more votes and that he carried the states that mattered and that Hillary lost. And Hillary was a terrible candidate, and the Obama legacy is about to disappear. And I think all of that has left-wingers so rattled that they just literally don't know what to do about it.
Now, it's Sunday morning, Mr. Speaker, and what else do you think the American people want to hear? It's a new year. The economy seems to be going better. It looks like the confidence level is way up with the American people. You're going to have a new cabinet.
Well, look, we're pretty good friends. So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and if you want to cut me off, I'll understand it. But this particular Sunday, I suspect you and I have a deep difference of opinion about what should happen at Lambeau Field tonight. And I couldn't be on the radio with you and not at least point out that as somebody who owns one share of Green Bay stock, I have a vivid and deep interest in what we hope will happen, which may be somewhat different than what New York fans happen. But I just thought I'd raise that in passing in the spirit of friendship that you and I have.
Well, I mean, there's something very important. A lot of a lot of that team is owned by who? New Yorkers?
No, well, probably. I mean, Green Bay is the only team I know of that has stock. I think it's owned by like 200,000 people.
Yeah, they have a lot of it.
Every place else is owned by billionaires, but the Green Bay team has this amazing history. And my wife's from Wisconsin, and my son-in-law is from Wisconsin, so we're now part of that tradition. I had to bring it up tongue in cheek.
Are you going to the game?
Yeah. No, I'd love to, but I'm actually going to a family event. Our family's getting together for Christmas in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I promised a long time I would go. Otherwise I would be there because it'll be a great game. I've already got a bet on with the governor of Texas that if our two teams collide, I'm bringing brats for the Packers if we lose, and he's bringing Texas brisket if the Cowboys lose. So it'll be fun. It's the fun part of America, you know. Americans can come together over sports and can talk about things, even when they won't talk about politics or they have other things they can't quite get around to talking about. And sports is one of the things that sort of unifies us as a country.
Your book, Treason, how is it doing? Tell us about that.
Well, it's done very, very well. We had a very big sales process over Christmas. We're very excited by it. Unfortunately, in the real world, we're seeing more and more examples of how real it is. The Germans arrested a military intelligence person who had been actively trying to figure out how to bomb Berlin. They have since gotten rid of some 20 people who they discovered when they began looking really were, in fact, bad guys and trying to help ISIS and the other side. So the premise of treason, that it's possible that we could have people who are very committed to destroying us and yet could serve in the American government, could be at the FBI or the National Security Council or Homeland Security. That premise is real, and we're seeing it worked out, for example, in Europe, where we really do have proof of people who are, in effect, traitors who are working in their government. So in that sense, the book's turned out to be very prophetic. It's done very well in terms of sales, but it's also been the kind of book that people talk about because it's so real, and the world it's describing is so real.
Well, former Speaker Newt Gingrich, Happy New Year. Thank you for being on with us this morning and telling the American public what's going on in our country, and we hope to catch up with you again real soon.
Good. Always great to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Take care. This is the Cats Roundtable. We'll be right back.